Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. Today we're going to do a review of a game that just arrived to my shores and didn't quite crash land, called First in Flight from Artana. Now, the designers, I believe, had done a game previous, Search for Planet X or something. This is totally different, just way orthogonal to that. In this game, 1 to 4 players are going to attempt to be the first to fly the longest. That's really what it's all about. You're going to take turns. And in those turns, you're going to try and beef up your plane. You're going to handle damage or potential problems with your plane. And you're going to leverage friends, gear, and skills to be able to try to fly farther than anyone else over the course of 4 rounds. Without getting into any more details, because I'm boring myself by now, let's get into it. Okay, let's take a look at what comes inside First in Flight. You get the rather narrow but aesthetically pleasing game board. This is the board that's going to show you the actions you can do on your turn, followed by the distance track. This distance tracker determines your longest flight, and so you're going to be attempting to have the longest flight until either everyone goes through the board 4 times, or until someone gets a flight of 40 or higher, which triggers the end game. You also get a series of well, we'll go over that later, but everybody's going to get their own placard, and on this placard you're going to have a custom player to start with on their non-heroic side. This gives you a little bit of information. Everyone gets a descend card, which we'll learn about later, and you get to start off with a deck of 9 cards, glide cards and some experience cards, and then 4 damage or like problem cards, big problem cards. And what are these problem cards? Well, they vary. You're going to get lots and lots of different variety of things that these can do, and these are always bad. These are bad for you when you're flying, but you shuffle them up and those are unknown. And then you get standard problem cards. Again, we'll worry about those shortly. There's money, because you're going to use money to fund things as you go around the track and pay for some of the actions you take. There's also this handy tray, which you will play, and some stickers, which I haven't put on yet. I kind of know what everything is, so I haven't needed to, but it's nice that they include them anyway, but they fit nicely on the little tabs. So you can pull this out, and this is going to be the tray you're going to use when you're adding cards to your hand over the course of play. Beyond that, you also have player tokens. Everyone has a different kind of plane style that they'll start here and do their long flights, and then your pilot, which will be doing a lot of the actions here. As well, you're going to get a rule book. The rule book is very full of imagery and pictures and organization. Pretty much everything is orderly in its place. No critiques or complaints I have about the manual. Nice example of how to fly, because flying is important, because you want to be the first in flight. Also, there's a solo mode broken down for you here. Aww. Here you go, buddy. Solo mode here, where you have instructions on how to play by yourself, and then the action table for players. And yep, so that's what we have. That's all that comes in First in Flight. Now let's get into an example of play. Okay, let's go over how to play First in Flight. So the object of the game is to win. You win by scoring the most aerial points. By doing the longest flight, you will win, either after 4 rounds or after one player has had a flight of at least 40 or more. That triggers the end of the game. Everyone gets another crack at it. Whoever's got the longest flight is going to be the winner. Around the board, you're going to be moving your pilots to these different areas to do things. For example, you can upgrade your ship by randomly grabbing some of these upgrade cards. You pay $1 for each card. You get to keep up to 2, I believe. Yeah, that's right, 2. Sorry. Or you can pay time, which is a different thing. We will go over here. You can grab one of these tech cards, or these friend cards, or these skill cards that get to be used. They're going to boost or enhance. You can get money, or you can repair a ship. No one needs to do that. Or you can give your airplane a trial flight and see what happens. And then there's wild cards, etc. There's pretty much that encompasses most of what you're going to do. But the last shall be first is the mechanism we use here. So whoever's last in line gets to go decide what to do. So for instance, if I go here and I decide, you know what? Oh, I started with 6. I'm going to spend 3 and so yeah, take these 3. I'm going to just go to 3, and I'm going to go grab 3 of these randomly shuffled cards.
1, 2, 3. And this is what's interesting. I get to keep any two of them, which obviously I'm going to keep the biggest ones, right? That makes sense. That's kind of an easy choice. And those go into my flight deck. Ha ha ha. And this one goes back. We discard that. And you have to take a new design flaw, though. Now, what's interesting about that is that, yes, while you're upgrading, because you're upgrading, you're making changes you think are going to make it fly farther, but you don't know what else you've introduced, side effects. And so you get a boost, you're going to get a net gain, but you're also going to have the possibility of more problems arising that you're going to need to handle. So, yay, there we go. And now we go to the next person back. Well, that happens to be blue, and that's handy. And look, every character has a special ability. You can tap this once you use the ability of any, wow, of any friend card around that's visible. That's pretty cool. Wow, everyone likes Therese Pitier. All right, so she's going to go. She doesn't need to repair. She doesn't need to go there. She's gonna go. Could she grab a card? She could grab any of these cards. Yeah, she's going to go here. She's going to pay 3, and she's going to grab this friend. This friend means that once a year, I can pay a time to get some money. So that's good. So basically, it's a private investor, an angel investor. And now we go on to whoever's last. And so we're going to go all the way up here, and we're going to try a flight. That's what we're going to do, which means that this is now available still, and yay, that's good. So how do we do a flight? Let's do the flying thing. And it goes, there's a nice kind of way of breaking down how to do the flight that's explained for us in the manual. So I suggest going through it if you're interested at all. But the basic principle is, this is where you get push your lucky. So you're going to shuffle this deck of cards. Yes, you are. I'm going to shuffle it while holding a camera. Look at me. Am I amazing or what? All right, and I'm going to keep this descend card nearby. If I had any cards that were in the hangar to be repaired, they have to go back in. So if I don't repair them by the time I try flying again, well, there's still problems on my plane. I still need to do something about them. All right, then we're going to draw flight cards one at a time. We'll just do it here. We'll start with the Ferris wheel. 4, oh, wait a minute. That's not right. Sorry, guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's someone's been playing. Someone's been playing in my game. How dare they play a game? There's 9 cards total to start. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So yeah, this guy, how he cheater. All right. So now we're going to do this. So when we start off, the first thing we're going to do is, okay, ouch. I kind of like the other one better. All right. And this is a strike. If you get 4 of these, you crash. That's just all there is to it. You just crash. If the next card added to your flight is a 1, you trash it. Is a 1, and I don't think that's not what they're talking about. That particular symbol is a glide card, and those are the standard cards. So basically, we escaped that. So we still have 1, even though these are damages. They still give us 1 towards it, so that's cool. Counts as 2 if this is the first damage card in your flight, which is not. So I really dodged a bullet here. If these had been flipped over, then, and I'd drawn this one first, this would have been 2, this would have been 1, and okay, never mind. All right, doesn't matter. Anyway, so now we're at 3. This is bad. This is like the worst flight ever. You must, oh man, you must tap or play an ability, and I don't have one, or play my descend card. So I'm at 3. At this point, there is a chance that that last 4th card is not going to show up for a while, so I could still try. But if I crash out, I'm going to lose a turn. But I'm going to use my descend card and try and survive some semblance of this. And this is why. Whenever you get to the point where you feel like you pushed your luck too much, like I have already here, then you play the descend card, and this starts the descending phase. Now, right now, this could be worth 5 distance or 2, depending on the next 2 cards I draw. Can't use any abilities, can't do anything else, you're just going to draw. You're basically descending if this is a glide card, and it's not. What the heck? All right, so I crashed. So that means that I am on the side, and I'm going to have to, the next turn, all I'm going to be able to do is right myself and go forward too. I basically have cost myself some time and had a crappy flight. That said, it wasn't a completely lost flight, because I am going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have traveled a distance of 5. There. Which is puny and pathetic, but whatever. Hey, if no one else does a flight, I'm still going to get money for the longest flight, so at least something could happen. Then I can take any two of these cards. The descent card goes back, it's always there. And I can take any of these two cards, and I can put them here in the garage. And that means that I can repair them. When I repair them, what happens? Well, instead of being massive damage cards, they become, they can get converted in. Something happens. You can, yeah, like you fix it, you do a repair, you get a little bonus out of it, and then they just turn into standard flight problems, which are very simple, much less pervasive. So there we go. So that was a crappy flight. Let's show you a different. Let's do it again. Let's say that I decide I'm going to go all the way here. I'm going to ignore everything else. Yellow, am going to give it a shot. And so we're going to try with an enhanced deck. Remember, I got upgraded cards for these. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to begin. Let's see how far I can get. So, and the descent card. 1, glide. Counts as 2 if it's the first one. So now I'm at 2. Now this is worth 2. This sucks. 1, 2. What is up? 3. I'm going to keep going. 1. These glide cards are rocking. 3. So now I'm making some progress. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm at 3. If I get even one more and I crash, you just crash flat out. That's not good. So I'm going to try again. Ooh, nice. +1 to my flight. So I get an extra glide card for now and for the future. Now, do I want to try and descend? Because if I descend and I don't get that last damage card, that's worth 5. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to descend here. I'm going to draw 2 cards. And the one is going to be 3. Oh, that's cool. And is this going to be a damage card? Woo! I did it. I successfully flew. And I have stopped there. I pressed my luck. I will press it no farther. So, what do? Well, this is great. We don't have to lose a turn. And our plane gets to fly a long way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Counts as 1, 2, 3. And I should have descended there. Pretend I didn't. Anyway, I'm just teaching. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 20. That is a mega flight. I love it. I love it. So then we go. Yeah, they didn't have machine guns on there yet. Yay! So forget for a second that I should have actually descended right then and there, which would have given me like 5 or 6, but pretend. And then these can go into the shop and get repaired. The rest of these get shuffled back into the deck. Into my deck. The descend card goes back where it belongs. And here we go. All right, and we are rolling again. And that's it. And not only that, but because we passed 15, we now have become, instead of Wilbur and Orville, and after flying and after checking, if you set a new personal flight record, get money and a glide card. Cool. Now we can flip it over. I didn't do that. After flying, you get 2 and 2. So now I'm famous, and so I've got an even bigger boost. And that's it. That's the end of that. So now that's great for the Wright brothers, but now it's going to be a while before there's a turn here. That's going to give these two folks an opportunity to beef up some cards, get some extra money, do some things before they're going to get a turn again. But I still think it was a valuable idea. Anyway, that's the game. Basically, you're going to be grabbing cards. You're going to grab friend cards, gear cards, skill cards. You're going to beef up. You're going to take your runs when you get to the end of the turn. Everyone's going to sort of regroup. Someone's going to get money. You go again. Whenever someone hits 40, everyone gets one last shot, and then whoever had the longest flight wins. It's pretty smooth. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for First in Flight. Let's get into my final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts on First in Flight. As usual, we go over the cons, then the pros, and then my final thoughts. There aren't a lot of cons. I don't think that there is a potential. I really don't see any major drawbacks with this particular title. I think that like anything, I think it plays best at 3 to 4 players. The solo experience is decent. I have no complaints about it. It's fine. It serves as well. I do like the thrill of 3 and 4 player games because of the push your luck element. 2 players, okay. We'll play it. It serves as well. But if we had a choice, we'd play 3. The other thing about the game is that it does tend to be, there's not, if you're someone who is steeped in variety, who needs a lot, I mean a lot of combinations of play styles, there's a lot of different inputs here for you to do. None overwhelming at any given time, but it does seem, you are going to start with the exact same hand to start with. You're going to be sort of playing close to everyone else. There's not going to be that. We didn't find a tremendous variance in scores as people went on for the most part. There was luck played a part, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It will happen. The potential is there for for literally someone, as you saw in my playthrough, to draw snake eyes in the form of plain negative airplane cards. So those are the only couple things I might mention. To be honest with you, there's really not a lot that I find problematic with this game. There's quite a bit that I actually do like. I know the art style for some have been like it's a little too vivid and cartoony, but I don't think so. I think it evokes that period of time when there's this sort of just simple optimism that planes are going to take up, and beneath that simple optimism and the joy and the fancy hats and the Mr. Peanut stylized folk, there was a great competition going on where they would like stab you in the back wearing a pointy hat, wearing a happy hat and a Mr. Peanut, just to try to be the first one to get out there and get the plane flying as far as they can. So I like that it sort of reaches both sides. It gives you that pleasant feeling, but there's definitely some stopping other people from getting farther in it. So I do like that. It's a nice balance. It's not totally take that where like I'm going to take my howitzer and knock your plane out of the sky. But there is enough to go, I'm going to block you from being able to fly right now, and that means you're going to have to, do you really want to like travel all the way across your turn and then have to wait there for a while so you can get your flight in? So, and that's the beauty of this game, is that the artwork. I love the artwork. I love the different cards. I think they had just the right amount for this type of game and for the audience that I hope find it exciting. Is just enough, but not too much to overwhelm you. Yes, you can get a skill card, a gear card, or a friend, and the friends crack me up. Your special ability on your own card, coupled with the fact that you, as the Wright brothers or any other character, can flip it over when you become famous, and then you're that much more interesting. It does mean the more success you get, the more success points you have. Like you make a successful flight enough, you become popular, you become a hero and stuff. But then also, if you fly the longest, you're going to get more money, and so you are going to be able to build on success here, which is fun. It's something to aim for. The variety, that the damage system is really clever, and I think because it ties into the risk reward factor, because ultimately it comes down to make your plane fly the farthest. That's really what it's all about, and then do anything you can to mitigate any situations where you're impeded from that. I like that. This is going to appeal to people. Like if you've ever played someone anyone who's played Dominion, you play people, and there's some people who are like, it's all about the gold, man. Forget the actions, just get enough and whatever. There are people who will make a sub game out of Dominion to try to see how many of the villages and how many of the blacksmiths they can get. Like literally, these people will string together 20, 25 cards and feel like they have this really great run, and then they'll have enough for, a 5 card. Maybe, and they're just like, I do all this, and then I got 7. But you needed 8 to be able to buy that big victory point thing. Some of you who play Dominion know what I'm saying. This game gives you that kind of feel. You start off and you have a basic deck, and you have you're going to get somewhere. You're going to get far. Even the cards that damage you, you're still flying somewhere. And you feel that. You feel that, like, I took off. Now we're going to see where this goes. And when you see that first red card come up, your just heart falls. And you're like, dang. Then you read the text and go, crap, it's even worse than I thought. And then you're going on. Then you're like, then the risk. And the descend card is brilliant. Because usually you get this, okay, I stop. okay, I'm not going to risk it any further. Lots of games, Mystic Vale and some other ones where you're trying to Port Royal and stuff, where you're like, okay, if I don't want to bust. Here you can have this potential to semi-bust, which is cool. It's like you have this contoured, blackjack busting thing, 21 to 23, where you can use that descend card with the potential to get 5, which is a big amount of distance to travel when you're descending. But then you don't get to use anything more, and you're like, okay, flip the 2 cards. Did I land? Even if you crash, that descent card still gives you 2. But when you get that sweet contoured flight, when you go up there and you get a damage card, then you go on a damage card, then you're like, I think I'm at the zenith, knowing what's in my deck. I'm gonna give it a shot, and you descend and you get those last 2 cards. When you land and you have this beautiful flight, it feels really evocative, like you had a beautiful flight. And I absolutely love that. That, I think, just makes the game for me, coupled with the fact that you can also crash land or bust too far. And you bust, and it impedes you, but it doesn't completely wipe you out or throw you all the way to the back of the queue. It can, but it doesn't necessarily do it. And so I just, man, I like this game. And coupled with all the things together make it a very nice, pleasant blend. It reminds me of, there's a game called Olibari, A Nice Cup of Tea, which is sort of similar. You just get this nice feeling like we're all going forward and everything's pleasant. You get these iterations. You don't have too much bad going on. And what you do have bad, well, if you did bust, well, you got 2 cards you can put in the garage and repair, and that means that that's going to cut down on the amount of impact that's going to have. I love that when you're okay, we got to add this, semi V6 V8 blah 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 blah. My son's into cars, and so I hear like car words, and I can't never put them together. And then they do all this work, and they do all this great, but then they forget, But when you get these upgrades, you also have to take a damage or a potential problem card, because that's life. Like, you do this thing and you think it's great and you forget the side effect. And even if it's a net gain, you still got that side effect and you got to work with that. I think it's just a really well thought out game for people, and it's not hard to pick up. You can pick this game up and teach it to someone. They can move around. You'll teach them a few icons or whatever, but they get it. They get the idea that you're going around, and the last shall go first kind of thing. Some people like that, some don't. I like it. I liked it in Glenmore, for example, and other places where if you're the last one, you get to go until you're ahead, and then or you get to go until someone else is the last one, and so you keep inching forward, and you are making a negotiation. You're going, okay, I really want to fly right now. It's going to be those flight time to fly things. They aren't liberal. They aren't liberally out there. So you got to make a choice. You do want to get ahead. You want that nice bounty at the end of a round if you're ahead of everyone else. You want to, but at the same time, if you just like rush out and do that, but you don't spend some time upgrading your aircraft. I don't know. I just love this game. It's like what did that poet said? Into each life some plane must fall. Well, that's what this game does. First in Flight is a pleasant excursion for generally casual audiences can pick it up. Is it a little long? It might be, although we've never seen it go so long that people became started to get bored with it, that we're enjoying it anyway. It's not deep and mighty. It's not like Russian railroads or anything else. It's just a pleasant but subtly poking at you kind of race to see who can get their flight going farthest, fastest, firstest. So I'd give it, if I was doing a BGG scale, I would give it 7.5, I think, out of 10. Just because I think it does a lot of things well. I don't have any drawbacks to it. Again, it's not a meaty, mighty GMT, 30-page rule book. The rule book's great. It teaches you everything. It might get samey, maybe. Maybe if you play this game 10, 11, 12 times in a row, you'll start to feel samey. But there's still that, pot of gold versus, like, falling on your face risk-reward factor that it's going to play into it. And honestly, if you play it 10 or 12 times in a row, most games are going to start to get samey anyway. So First in Flight, I recommend it. I think it's a great game. I'm glad I bought it, and I hope you give it a chance too if that sounds appealing to you. So take care, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.